Freeman listed as day-to-day. Flattery has a flat one at Chavez Ravine. Top LA hitters held hitless. What's going on? Buehler coming up on Friday. Was Yamamoto tipping his pitches? And what happened to Kershaw? What's going on? Dodger Digest, Brad J with you here. Let's get right down to it. Freeman listed as day-to-day. You heard me saying it. Listen, I could sound like a broken record, and I could come to you and say, look, you heard me say it before about it's going to take longer from a rolled ankle to get better. He played such a good game on the day he came back, but he pumped that ankle with steroids. You know he did stuff with that ankle that he probably shouldn't have done with that ankle, and that limited him. He was able to make it through part of the game and had to be pulled out. And what does that mean for Freddie Freeman? I don't want to be the Debbie Downer here. Listen what Dave said. Dave looks pissed right there. I got word in the middle of the game that his ankle was really bothering him. He was down, really down, and couldn't keep going. So Dave Roberts pulled him out. I don't know, man. I probably would have thought on that deal to not start him on game one because, we got the win, right? But I don't think there's any way possible that just having a day off is going to change the predicament on that ankle. I just don't see it. And there's 2 days back-to-back at Petco. So not such a good thing right there. Not liking to hear that up, but I'll bet you, look, I've said that it takes longer to get over that ankle roll than what he did. And I'll bet because he played so hard, and you can look at it this way. We got the win, so was it worth it? But it could force him out. Look, he had to leave in the middle of the game. He played like crap. There it is. So, and the Padres knew. They knew what was going on. They were well aware of the situation. They intentionally walked Mookie Betts, who's hitless. What's going on with Mookie? I know it was close, that one that Profar brought back, but I know it is. I hate to talk about the 500-pound gorilla in the room, but Mookie Betts needs to do something. Okay, even after getting 2 strikes on him, the instance to face Freeman, just to walk him because they knew, hey, Freeman's got a bum leg. Let's walk a guy who's not hitting also. What is going on? Some changes have to be made. You don't want that. Think about the advantage that gives the Padres in a situation like that, right? Mookie hasn't had a hit since 1985 in the playoffs. You got this problem going on, and then you got Freddie, who is visibly injured, and you can see him hobbling around. So now it's like Shohei becomes non-existent, and that's the sad part about this whole thing. Now look, what are the stats? I could harp on this game all day long. Hated watching the whole thing. It was painful. But you know what? One thing that glares to me, just look at it yourself. What do you see one thing there? With the number 1 hitter, the number 2 hitter, the number 3 hitter, and the number 4 hitter. What do we notice here? What's the common ground in those? Not a single walk, 0 first. Shohei, 0 for 4. Zippo, 0 for 4. Betts, 0 for 2. Freeman, 0 for 2. Teoscar. But you're not going to win games, even though the bottom of the lineup has been performing quite well, thanks to Black Tizzo, my friend who brought that up. The bottom of the lineup's been doing their thing. They've been coming through, right? But look at that. We gave 5 runs up in the first game and still won it, okay? 5 earned runs. That's because we out-hit the pitching. And if you're not going to out-hit your pitching, and especially the Dodgers, and I'm not going to say it's the Dodgers' fault. Look at the pitching, the situation that we got with pitching. You look at one guy from the starting rotation of pitching is still on, and that's Yamamoto, and that's it. Rest of them are gone by the wayside. Trades, whatever we did. Injuries, lots of them, stacking up. But you got to out-hit the pitching. And if you're not going to out-hit your pitching, because if you can give up 5 earned runs and take a win, a W, like we did game 1, that's big. Basically, it would have been the same thing right here, except for the last part of that game, which was gone away. But there's your hitting right there. Okay, let's look at the pitching stat line for yesterday. Flaherty, 5 hits, 4 earned runs. See, you can get by with that if you're getting hits. If you go back to the hits and your 1 through 4 are hitless in the campaign, well, then that doesn't work. That's a situation where you need no earned runs and you need to play small ball. But you look at that 5.1 inning. He took up some time, but he gave up 4 earned runs. And then, I don't know, hitting Tatis, whether that was a purpose thing, whether that wasn't. The fight afterwards, I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think that Flaherty, you're at this point, I know it's rough. That dude is so good. He said 13 home runs at Dodger Stadium, something like that. I'm not a fan of him at all, but I am a fan of his baseball because the guy can play some ball. But man, stick to the game. Stick to the game. Play the game. Not get into a jawing match after you're not even in the game anymore. What does that do? Does that take everyone else out of the game? And then what did they do? What did the Padres do? They got a meeting. The Manny meeting, I call it. A season on the line. The Padre roster found itself huddled inside the visiting dugout at Dodger Stadium prior to the 8th inning. And Manny Machado calming things down. The instigator himself calming things down. Do not give Manny the edge here. What is going on? Is this an alternate reality we're living in? But you see what he did? You got to give the dude credit. He got the team together. He got them jiving at the right time. I mean, look, it's only 1 win. We go back to 2 for Petco. But then you also have to look at what are we looking at when we go to Petco for game 1? What are we looking at? We're looking at Buehler is who we're looking at. And I know there's 2 camps on Buehler right now. You're either a Buehler guy or you're not. And I see it in the messages. I see it in the post. I see what you people put out there on it, and that's fine. But this is his time right now. He's a competitor no matter what. Let's just throw out there. That dude has the drive to win at any possibility, any game he's in. Now, what happened to him? Well, 2 surgeries, 2 Tommy Johns will definitely wreak some havoc on the body, and it's wreaked some havoc on the arm, and he had problems with control. Velocity seems like it's pretty close, but the control thing was the issue. So has that been solved? The last outing was pretty darn good. So we got to put our eggs in one basket. You've got to have a short leash on this guy, and you don't want to give him too much time, because if you give him 5 innings and you give out 4 earned runs and the rest of the team isn't going to show up and get any hits, you got to face it at some point there. So the whole thought's what we need. It's time to get smart for sure. Got to play some smart baseball. That is what needs to be. Play some team ball. That's what the team needs to get better. Play team ball. You see what Manny did, calling meetings. That's what Dodgers need to do. Turn the momentum. And Buehler, this is it, man. If there's one game that is so important in that dude's career, it's this one right here. Hey, hit the sub button. We're putting out fresh content here daily. Dodger Digest, myself and Mike Nelson, always at it. We'll keep going all the way through to the playoffs, and that's for sure right there. So Brad J with you here. Hit the sub button. That has been Dodgers Digest. And always remember, please, to think blue.